Everybody, what's going on? This is Justin from the Side Draft Radio Show on FFN Radio Network. Sorry about the little intro. We had some technical difficulties. We'll get the intro back to you guys. But either way, we're here. We're live. We're going to have a good show this week. Right off the rip, I have a common face that you guys have seen on the show a few times already. He's going to be my co-host tonight and hopefully in more shows going forward. So without wasting any time, Donnie, DJ Pyres, come on in, buddy, and let's talk some racing. What's up, my man?
What's up, buddy? Good to be back.
How you
doing? Good, man. Glad to be on the show again. Appreciate you having me back on, and be fun to recap the season here a little bit.
Awesome. So I know I texted you before the show, right? And I wanted to do something a little unorthodox today to start our show off. All right. Today's a holiday. It's Veterans Day today. So right off the bat, from Donnie, from myself, from Blaze Man, all of FFN Radio Network, all the shows across the board, all of the guests we've had on, in the past, in the future, everybody we have, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank all our veterans, all the service members, the ones who have fought for our freedoms, and we can't express into words how much we appreciate you guys. We're supportive of you guys. And Donnie, I want to jump right in. NASCAR, huge supporter of the veterans as well.
Yes. I think NASCAR probably is one of the best sports when it comes to celebrating the veterans and making them feel special, putting their names on the cars, having them come to the races, and they really go out of their ways to, like I said, celebrate the veterans, which is awesome,
Yeah. I think that's what the when you look at NASCAR in a whole, I think that's one of the biggest attractions for me, anyways. Was they do those special race weekends where they let service members, men and women, like you can see in the picture, hang out on pit road, hang out with the crews. They put their names across the windshields of these cars. They do a lot. And it goes even further than just our military, our first responders. They did a huge thing for our first responders this year. I forget, it was early in the season, I think like the second or third week in the year. But it's just awesome to see a sport be so supportive and in tune with the people that really put their lives on the line, And this holiday is a little bit more special for me because it's my birthday today. Donnie, did you know that?
Geez. I did not know that. Were you holding back secrets? This is how old are you today, man?
Well, it's funny you ask. I had to rock the Ethan Souza shirt today because I am the big 30.
Oh, this is a big one. You've reached a whole new decade, dude. This is awesome.
So I turned 30 and there's nothing, I didn't work today. I stood home all day. I hung out with the kids. I hung out with the wife. And I have the side draft tonight. So to me, it was a successful birthday. You couldn't beat it.
You're living the dream. So it's funny it's funny. This has nothing to do with your birthday, but happy birthday, of course. And
thank you.
I like that you took the whole day off, spend time with the family. That's pretty neat. But you were saying you turned 30, you have the 30 on your shirt. I had the weirdest thing just happen to me. I ordered a pizza. I go to pick the pizza up. The girl says, your total's 1818. So I said, that's my number. And she's like, what do you mean? So I went, look, I got the 18 on my shirt. She's like, you better go play a scratch ticket or something, she said. So that's
Did you
funny.
play a scratch ticket?
No, I don't play scratch tickets because I always lose.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. You got the 30 on there to celebrate your 30th birthday.
That's
and
it.
Ethan and Freddie, which is cool.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I know I sent a few pictures into Blaze, and before we get into recapping Phoenix, and then obviously opening up our chat to talk about our thoughts on the season, all that stuff. Blaze has a bunch of pictures of cool paint schemes, which you can see as one of them is our backdrop, which is the Jimmy Johnson, tank car, which was pretty freaking sweet. It's just, like I said, it's just awesome, the camaraderie in the sport, and it goes all the way down to a local level. I know going to Seekonk Speedway, they had, a first responders night for late Memorial Day, and they shouted
Yep.
out a bunch of first responders. They let them stand up in the crowd, and they showed their support. So racing from top to bottom, you can't beat it. They just show so much support. They do everything they can to get people's names out there who sacrifice their lives for the greater good. So, like I said, he can roll in a few pictures while we get started before we get to our race recap, which I got the highlights for us to watch. So, with that being said, Donnie, I didn't want to text.
Before we get into it, I want to have a cheers for the veterans and for you for your birthday.
Awesome.
I didn't have a nip tonight, but I'll have a swig of my Busch Light.
I'm disappointed.
The official.
In you,
I know I screwed up. I wasn't prepared tonight, but I got the official beer of NASCAR right here, so it's the second place.
Awesome. All right, cheers, buddy. And you heard Donnie. That goes out to all the veterans out there. Anybody who watches, tunes in, supports us, supports NASCAR in a grand scheme, because this is what the show is all about. It's about NASCAR. Before we, which now that I thought, I'm going to give a couple shout outs, because there's a couple people that always tune in to this show that are veterans themselves. Tom Vieira, my brother, my older brother, he's a veteran. Matt Kamara is my cousin. He's another veteran. I have a few other cousins, uncles, great uncles that all served in militaries for their own country, like respective countries. So it's, like I said, it's near and dear to my heart, because, like I said, it's my birthday. I can't forget about Veterans Day every year. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that it's not like it can fly by because I'm celebrating another year of life, and we get to celebrate some veterans. You know what I mean? And we get to cheer some people and salute some people, watch parades that show off a lot of cool things, a lot of cool history of the military as well, which is really cool. So, like I said, with that being said, we'll go into Phoenix, because what I did to you, Donnie, and I don't know if you noticed it. You might have noticed it. I didn't text you much at all this past week since Phoenix.
I did notice that. We kept our NASCAR chat to a minimum. I have a feeling I think I know why.
Yeah, you think you know what? I wanted this to be.
I think you wanted to be candid. You wanted the debates to happen live on the air.
Oh yeah, because I didn't want to get. I just gave you a little scoop of what I wanted, how I kind of wanted the show to go, as far as direction wise. But look at that Alan Kowicki paint scheme, so badass. The Desert Storm,
that is
badass. But I didn't want to give you too much of my thoughts on the race. I didn't want to give you too much thoughts on certain things. I just kind of wanted to be like, I'm gonna play the highlights. We're gonna just unfiltered, raw, straight to the point, no BS, no trying to make anybody happy. You know what I mean? So Blaze has the video. He can post it up with no sound. It's like an 11-minute video of the full race highlights, and we can just watch it. We can pick up some points throughout the video and give our insight on it. So whenever Blaze can get that video up, he can roll that. And what I'll do is I'll give you the floor, Donnie, as my co-host today. You can take the floor. Give me your opinion on Phoenix, our new champion, how the race went. Floor's yours.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good race for Phoenix. Considering the last time they went to Phoenix, I don't think the racing was very good. So I thought they seemed to be a better race. Seemed to be a little bit more passing. As far as Logano winning it, he deserved it. I'm not a Logano fan by any means, but you got to give credit where credit's due. That guy is in the championship 4 every year almost. He's one of the more consistent drivers out there, and he dominated that race pretty much. I think he was only not leading out of the 4 guys for like 1 or 2 laps the whole race. So, I was satisfied with the race, and I like seeing Chase Elliott get spun out, put in the fence. I didn't
You
want to
had to
see
go there. Oh my God, you had to go there.
it.
You had to go there. You know what? You know what,
Well,
Donnie?
I had to because that
You
was
had
my favorite part of the race. I think
you had to. You know what? But I'm gonna stop you right there, okay? And I'm gonna say
Hmm.
I do agree with you as far as out of the out of the previous race in Phoenix and even last year's two races in Phoenix. I think this one was the most entertaining. I do agree with that. Like you said, Logano just dominated, and it was actually one green flag lap that he wasn't leading. You know what I mean? One green flag lap. I think it was seven total. Six of them were
Right.
caution laps.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. I think that, like you said, you nailed it. You said he's been the most consistent driver over the last probably 5 or 6 years. He's been very consistent. He racks up wins. So I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I was hoping towards the end of the race that he was actually going to check up a little bit and let Blaney get the dub. You know what I mean? Because he still would have won the chip. But like what I noticed between the Xfinity
Yeah.
race and the Cup Series race was where we didn't see a lot in Phoenix before was the guy in second, third, they're running in traffic. Once they got a little bit of space, they started gaining ground. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Chastain started gaining
Yeah.
ground towards the end of the race, which was I don't remember seeing that in Phoenix the last few years when you have a guy in clean air just jet rocketed. You know what I mean? So I thought it was impressive. I I,
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think earlier in the race, I think Blaney was the car to beat,
Oh
and
yeah,
I think at the end. I think he was trying, but I think he ran out of car.
yeah,
I don't think it was a situation where he was kind of laying back, letting Logano win. I think Blaney was giving it all he had, and Logano just made his car a little better. Plus, being in clean air made a big difference
yeah,
as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good race. I actually thought I didn't really get a chance to watch the Xfinity, to be honest with you, but I watched the whole truck race. The truck race was great on Friday night.
yeah. I
Um,
missed the truck race. I did
and
catch the Xfinity race though.
Yeah, the truck race was on really late, which kind of sucked, but
Yeah,
I managed to stay awake somehow. So it was
yeah,
uh it was a good race weekend, but at the same time depressing. Anytime the racing season comes to an end, it's
yeah,
depressing. But I'm already looking forward to 2023 and uh, seeing Kyle in a new team, new car. He's gonna be motivated. I'm excited to see
yeah,
how it
yeah,
runs with it.
yeah. And speaking of, since you brought up freaking Chase Elliott, this is the part of the race where he got spun out on that restart, which I know I heard
Yeah,
Jamie. Do you? I know you watch. The Dale Jr. Download. Do you watch Dual Bumper Clear by any chance? The other Dirty Mo Media podcast.
I catch bits and pieces of it on YouTube, but
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of it this week. Why?
yeah,
What did they have to say about that restart?
yeah.
What was their
They had
thoughts?
Jamie McMurray on, and
Yeah,
the they pretty much talked about that restart. Chase Elliott being spun. Obviously, Chastain dropped down uh, fast to try and get around him, and Elliott did pull the late block. Um, so Jamie McMurray made a very good and valid point, which was he said, and this isn't in quotes at all. I'm just going to paraphrase it, but he said being Chastain because of the situations he's put himself in prior in the year um, with multiple people, Hamlin, Truex, Elliott a few times, is that right off the bat, he's never going to get the benefit of the doubt. Never going to get the benefit of the doubt just because he's raced like that before. Even though my personal opinion, Chase did it to himself. That's just my
yeah,
opinion. You got me to say it out loud, which I didn't want to, but but it was his own fault. So with that, Jamie McMurray, he pretty much nailed it. Chase Elliott is the golden child, which we all know, and
yeah,
Ross Chastain just has a history of running aggressive and dumping some people. So right off the bat, people are going to bat their eyes, and that's the first thing they're going to go after is Chastain was just a little too aggressive, and Elliott was Chastained, and it took Elliott out of contention. His car was not nearly as good after that. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
just completely out of whack. So, do
One thing I
you
did
agree?
see,
You agree
and
it
I
was
hate to
Elliott?
even admit this, I, um, what I was gonna what I was gonna say is, I actually saw a video where they asked Jeff Gordon about it, and Gordon made a good point. And after rewatching the video, I'm like, yeah, he might be right. It was close, but
Yeah.
Gordon said Chastain actually dipped down below before they got to the start finish line. And technically, in the rules, you're supposed to wait until you cross that start finish line, then you can go down low. But
Right, and you can't cross
if
the
you
plane of
watch
the
the in
driver in front of
car
you.
of Chastain, or you can see that he goes just before the line. He dips it low, and I think that's why he was able to get underneath Elliott to begin with.
Right. And that brings up another point that was a big topic this this past week in general was NASCAR not keeping penalties consistent, which I've heard a few times people talking about it on social media and YouTube, little YouTube videos, short videos about not keeping it consistent. Is that one of those things that kind of falls into that line? As
Yeah,
Chastain drops down, championship race, he's one of the final four. Whereas in another situation, if they did that at Atlanta or Daytona, you know what I mean? They'd be having the guy pull a drive through penalty. Not we didn't see anything come up in the championship race. So is that them kind of stretching the rules a little bit?
yeah. Honestly, I think it's a rule. It's almost like um, pass interference in football. Like, it was so close, Justin. If you watch the replay, it was so close. You almost couldn't tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't cut and dry, is what I'm getting at. It was
Right.
very close. So for them to pull a penalty, I don't think they would have done that in a championship race, because obviously, the officials, they try to stay out of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They want the race to kind of police it themselves, and unless it's
But
egregious, I don't think they're gonna do anything like that.
it took Elliott out of contention though. I mean, Chastain's move took Elliott out of contention. So it's one of those things. It's like six of one, half
Yeah,
dozen of another. You know what I mean? Is a championship driver.
yeah,
Chastain may have dropped down low, before they passed the start finish line, and they don't want to call it because he's a championship racer, one of the final four. But he also, in the same act, dumped another one of the final fours, and pretty much took him out of the race. He had no shot after that. So it goes both ways. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the way I see it,
yeah.
anyways.
It was close. If you watch the replay when you get a chance, you can
Yeah.
check it out, give your opinion. But it was really close. It was right at the line, and maybe Elliott was a little late getting down low, but those
Yeah.
restarts are freaking nuts at that track.
Oh yeah,
You
because
know,
they fan out so wide. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like this. They're driving 6, 7, 8 different lanes. You know what I mean?
yep,
Just coming around into turn one, like that's in which I personally don't like. That's just me. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a regular
why
traditional.
don't you like that?
I don't know how really I can explain it, but I'll think of it. I've always just been a fan of the traditional 2x2. You know what I mean? Come to the flag, wait for your pole driver to make his move in the restart zone, and just 2x2 going into turn one. And you can maybe some tracks get 3 wide right off the rip coming down the backstretch, maybe 4 wide at like a Dade or some track like that. Texas easy to go 3 wide, Las Vegas easy to go 3 wide. Um, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's weird. A lot of the
Do
other
you?
tracks you can't advance position below the yellow line. You know what I mean? But then Phoenix you can go down and run right along the pit wall, and go 8
Yeah.
different lanes. It's just weird. It's
Well,
just one of
that's what
those
I
things.
was gonna say. You kind of like the yeah. You kind of like the Talladega Daytona rules where they can't go below the yellow line. Where
Right.
I think that's a good rule for that track, but with these cars now, the cars are so equal, the drivers are equal. A lot of passing gets done on restart, so that's like their opportunity. You know, field's bunched
Right.
up, and that gives them an opportunity to make a lot of moves. You know, I kind of like where they get crazy and they freaking they fan out all over the place and do that whole bit. But um, that's just my opinion. You know, I watched. They had an old Phoenix race on Fox Sports. I think it was last week. It was like the 1988 race from Phoenix. And one thing I forgot they used to do is after a caution, when they would do a restart, it was single file. There was no double file restarts back then,
Yeah.
which is I can't believe they had it like that, but it was to try
Well,
to
they used
keep
to have
things
they used to have the
orderly,
lap
you
cars
know.
start in the inside. Do you remember that? They used to have the lap cars start in the inside lane, and they'd have guys on the lead lap start in the outside, which that was just
Yes.
so stupid, just so dumb. Or they would do 2x2. I
That
remember
was
for
stupid.
yeah, they had. I think it was like a year. Maybe I think it only lasted about a year. And you might remember too is that they would go 2x2 to a restart, but you would have your lapped cars. Do you remember when they did it like that? They would run 2x2, and then you'd have your
Yeah.
lead lap cars. I'm like, dude. So you'd have like your leader starting in the sixth row. I mean, what the hell are you doing? Like, how stupid is that?
Yeah, it
You
was
know what I'm saying?
stupid.
Just dumb. Oh, looks like we're having some difficulties here with Donnie's audio. Donnie, if you can hear me, it looks like we're having a little bit of difficulties with your camera and your video.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I can hear you good now.
All right. You good?
Yeah, I can hear you good now. That's all right. We got
Any better?
Yeah, it's actually better now.
All right, cool.
But yeah, when they used to do those stupid restarts, that was just dumb.
Yeah. I guess I got to refresh the page here.
All right.
So
yeah, do whatever you got to do. We'll be here. We got plenty of time, buddy. So whatever we got to do. While Donnie does this, while Donnie refreshes his page, what we're going to do is, I didn't know if he had it all fixed up. So sorry about that little pause, guys. But while Donnie gets his video all fixed up, we're live. This happens. It happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little video to make sure. Yeah, so now Donnie's back in. So, Donnie, we're actually going to play a little video that Blaze is going to throw up. To get us laughing. It's going to be a movie that you appreciate. I know I appreciated this movie. In the meantime, like, comment, share. We need this interaction in here. So,
Smokey.
check it out.
Smokey. Is this fun?
I forgot to tell you, I'm running block here for 400 cases of illegal brew.
Reminds me if you look up how NASCAR
Holy shit!
driving down dirt roads, dumping cops into lakes.
yeah.
Funny, I don't remember that turn.
And what a classic movie do.
That's where it all began.
What a classic movie. That's legitimately the start of NASCAR. was that exact type shit. Fucking cars running down dirt roads, bootlegging, running moonshine and whiskeys and
Yeah.
shit, running from cops. You know what I mean? Like the Dukes of Hazzard and Smoking the Bandit, shit like that.
Yeah.
That's literally how NASCAR was founded. Literally.
It's where it all began, which is wild to think about,
Yeah.
running from the cops and stuff. Had to start somewhere, I guess,
Yeah, I mean, I guess they all like I read some things about which is funny. I read some things like a few weeks ago because we're gonna have like in a few weeks when we get some of our guests out of the way, we're gonna do a whole history of NASCAR show. You know what I mean? And I read some stuff, man, that like these dudes literally run against each. No, I shouldn't say run against. Let me think of a better way to word this. They would brag about, they'd be running their whiskeys, moonshines, and all that, and they'd be bragging